and welcome back to another episode of the Knitting Jungle podcast. In case you're new here, hello, my name is Sarah. I live right outside Boston, Massachusetts, and this is a podcast where I like to talk about everything that I've been knitting on, the craft that we all love. Sometimes in the summer I'll also include some sewing content. I also crochet and do some machine knitting, so you might see some of that in my other episodes. The weather is really starting to warm up here, so I've already finished a few summer projects since my last episode, and I'm really excited to share those with you, as well as a few other projects I have in mind for the rest of the summer. Oh, I'll also be announcing the winners of the yarn giveaway that I spoke about in my previous episode. Also at the end of the video, I think I'm going to include a little acquisition section because I was able to make it to the Brimfield Antique Fair, and I got a couple things in case you're interested. And my birthday was also last week. I just turned 38, woohoo! Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me here today. I hope you have a nice project that you're working on, maybe some iced tea or coffee, and let's get started. So the first project I'll be talking about today is called the Ilana Camisole, and this is by a designer named Masha Ziablikova, and I made this in the size 3. And it asks for a fingering weight yarn, and I went with a yarn that I have experience with from last summer. I only made one tank top last summer, and it was in Ilana Sabri 1, which is a really soft fingering weight cotton and alpaca yarn. It's 85% cotton, probably Pima cotton because it seems really high quality and soft, and then 15% alpaca. So there's quite a lot of stretch to this because of the alpaca, I think. And also just the nature of a cable design is it's meant to stretch, and this is supposed to be knitted with negative ease. The color of the yarn I used was called Bone, and I used a little bit less than 1 skein. This is about all I have left. I think this took me about a week. The overall cable pattern was definitely slow, and I didn't really like knitting on this very much, although the end result I think was worth it. I just wanted to show you the Ilana Sabri label. It's so beautiful. Just a little cotton bud there. So like I mentioned, I made the size 3, but it does come in 8 different sizes. The size 7 is actually untested, so I think you'll be able to get that pattern for free if you want to knit the size 7 and test it at the same time, so that's kind of a cool option if you have that exact size. And the size range is meant to be between a 31 to a 47 3/4 inch bust, and that's assuming a negative ease of 3 3/4 to 5 inches. Another thing I really like about this pattern is that it has optional waist shaping, which I think is just really, really well thought out. I think, yep, you can see it here. It just looks so elegant and beautiful, and I think it was perfectly done to stay, like the shaping was done in such a way that the pattern still looks perfect. And yeah, I just really love this detail here. And of course you don't need to do the waist shaping. I feel like this still fits me pretty loosely. I probably could have gotten away with the second size just because this yarn is really drapey and loose and stretchy. But yeah, so I'm glad I did the waist shaping. And let me talk about the construction a little bit. So for the gauge swatch, she says you can use either 3mm or 3.25mm needles. And I actually didn't even make a gauge swatch for this because I thought, how can you gauge swatch? Because you can kind of just make the fabric stretch as much as you want it to. So I just picked a 3mm needle because I'd rather be too tight than too loose, and I just went with that. So the whole thing is pretty much fully charted, I think. You start with the front section, you start with the straps, and like right here, you start with the straps, and at first the pattern was just, I had just finished this section here, and to me it looked really messy and weird, and I thought this yarn wasn't going to be a good choice. But then I realized that was just the border of the armhole and the neckline, and the actual pattern starts, you can really start to see it once you get around here. So as I knit more, I decided that I liked it and that I was going to keep going. So you make this little triangle for the front and the second triangle, and 2 triangles for the back. the back triangles are a little bit more narrow and the front triangles are wider to accommodate the bust. And then you connect all 4 triangles in the round and then knit it as long as you want. One thing that I highly recommend is to do a provisional cast on for the straps. So I think it's called provisional cast on, is where you cast on and then those stitches remain as live stitches just on hold on a needle while you knit the rest, because this pattern asks you to pick up stitches for the back strap and then knit the whole back. And then later on I realized the straps were too short for me, so I had to go back in and undo that and knit some more and sew it together. And that looks, one side looks not that messy, and then one side I didn't do, see right here, I didn't do a great job. It's like a little bit bulging out. I need to just go back in there and sew this little lump back in on itself so it looks a little flatter. I don't know, I noticed that, but it's a minor problem. But, or if you don't want to do a provisional cast on, just don't pick up stitches from the front to do the back, just have it all separate, and then right at the end you can knit the straps as long as you want. So I ended up knitting, I think, 2.5 inches more on both of the straps. And maybe I read the chart wrong or something, but that's what I ended up doing. And then this is a really cropped look, and the pattern was even more cropped than mine ended up being. So I actually did an extra 3 inches, which was about 20 rows here at the bottom to get the exact length I wanted, which was a little bit below my belly button. So I would just try this on with some high-waisted pants or high-waisted skirt, or, you know, whatever I was planning to wear it with. And then at the point that I thought it looked good, then I stopped knitting and did an Italian bind off as best I could in pattern. And it lays nice and flat, so I think that worked. So like I mentioned, I think the pattern and the shaping is really high quality, really top notch. I think it's really well written. The one thing I will say is I didn't like the symbols that were used in the chart, and I'm a really visual person, and for example, the knits and purls were horizontal and vertical lines, and it was all clashing with each other. Like when you look at it, it was really confusing, and I don't think I ever really learned if vertical was knit or purl, because on one side it meant knit and then on the reverse side it meant purl, and my brain just could not I just couldn't wrap my head around those symbols for whatever reason. So I would say that's the only negative about the pattern. So yeah, I would say the process of knitting this was not the most fun or relaxing, and it definitely took a while because of all these cables there. The cable repeat is very frequent, and each row probably has, like, I don't know, 50 or 60 cables. And then the chart, my eyeballs didn't like the chart, so it wasn't the best knit I've ever done, but the fabric and the finished product is really nice, so I'm pretty sure I'll just forget about the negatives pretty soon. Since this is 15% alpaca yarn, I decided not to do a wet block because I'm really afraid of wet blocking now after a couple of fiascos. So I just did a steam block just to get everything poofing out and the cables to open up nicely, and the borders already were laying nice and flat, but I just gave it an extra steam, and I'm happy with that result as well. That's all I have to say about the Ilana camisole. I think it's a beautiful, elegant, feminine pattern, especially if you like cables and just beautiful little intricate details. I think that was #1 on my summer make list for sure, so I'm glad I got that one out of the way. Overall, really happy with this. It's gonna go with everything in my wardrobe because I like to wear white and neutrals in the summer, and it's just gonna provide that perfect amount of detail and texture in whatever I'm wearing on the bottom. I just wanted to quickly show you this other color. This is the only other summer tank that I made. This was last year. I only made one summer knit, which is why I'm going so crazy this year. This is the Ilana Sabri in the color 75, and I really like this color as well. I think this would pair really nicely with white pants or shorts for summer. And this is the camisole #2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. So just wanted to share this pattern as well because I think this is pretty similar but without all the cables. And it has this interesting bust line here. That's pretty cool. One bad thing about this, I think this I should have sized down as well, possibly because of the yarn. I bet I didn't do a gauge swatch in this either though, so that's probably totally on me. But this line does not go right over my, like the apex of the bust point. It's kind of off to the side here, which is I think a little awkward. But I still wear this, it doesn't stop me. It's a nice, soft, airy, drapey tank top for summer, and I also really like this brown color, so just wanted to share that in as a little bonus project in case you're thinking about making this one. I think the pattern of this one was really good. It's like a 3x2 or maybe a 2x2, yeah, maybe a 3x2 ribbing. I do love ribbing though, so yeah, this one a lot faster than the cabled one. So after I finished the Ilana camisole, I became really addicted to making summer knits because it was so quick and there's no sleeves, and I don't have that. Yeah, I only have one other hand knitted summer garment in my wardrobe, so I went straight into casting on this next one, which is called the Surria vest, I think. Surria top, sorry, and it's by Mochi Knits. She also has a really popular pattern, maybe it came out last summer, it's called the Claire vest, and it's very similar to this, but it has a V neckline, but it also has these cute little ties here and possibly different edging around the neck. But anyways, if you don't like scoop neck, she's also got a V-neck version, which is very nice. So I wanted to make this, I'm not too crazy about this open situation here, but it's so hard for me to find something with a deep scoop neckline, and that's my favorite neckline to wear. There's so many tank tops out there that are like way up here, and first of all, it's gonna give me terrible tan lines, and I just think a nice deep open neck is the most flattering on me, and it's the most comfortable, especially for summer. You want as much skin exposed as you can, at least where I live. I just wanted to support her by buying her pattern because she bothered to be one of the few people that did a deep scoop neckline. So just for that alone, I wanted to buy this pattern and make it. So this is made in Drops Bell. It's their summer weight yarn, I guess. I think it's a worsted weight. And the composition of this is 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. And this is in the color number 26 Pearl. And this was like a $7 or $8 project because the Drops Bell is only like $1.75 per ball, and I used I think 3.5 balls for this, and I even made it longer, so I think you could get away, if you were making the smallest size and you wanted super cropped, you could maybe get away with just 3 balls for this one. But I recommend making sure you have plenty to make this longer. So anyways, this one comes in 7 sizes, and the range is between a 31.5 inch bust up to a 51.3 inch bust. And it recommends that you make this with 1 inch of positive ease. So as much as I do like the look of this on the hanger, I think this is my worst project that I made. And I think it's all because of the yarn. I think the viscose in there made it too drapey, and I'm really used to working with wool, and I don't know, it just, by the time I put it on, it just looks kind of sloppy on me, to be honest. I hate saying that, but this is what I really think. And yeah, so like even just this open part here, I guess I will probably end up sewing these two things together, but it's just kind of flopping open. And then I guess I'll get into all the problems I had, but it's just too flowy, it's too floppy basically. I think if I were to make this again, I would maybe well, first of all, I would choose a different yarn with no viscose in it, because even in sewing, if you add viscose to linen, it makes a nice drapey fabric that's like perfect for pants. But with a vest, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I think this is a little too drapey. I would probably change out the yarn and maybe go down a needle size just to tighten up the gauge to make it even less drapey. I'm just kind of sad about this because in her pictures it looks so good. It kind of reminds me of those fast food burger commercials where the burger looks like so big and good and colorful, and then what you get in the actual fast food restaurant is like appears nothing like what you're expecting. So yeah, I think her version is perfect, and maybe I just did a sloppy job because I'm not used to working with these summer fibers. But yeah, for whatever reason, I'm not that happy. But let's talk about the construction a little bit. So you start in the back, and that's worked flat, and you do a bunch of short rows up here to kind of shape the shoulder areas, I think. And you knit some armhole increases down to here, and then you put the back on hold. And then you go to the front and you pick up stitches. You pick up stitches back here, so you won't see them from the front. And you do one side of the front at a time, and this is fully charted, which is nice. And yeah, you just make increases towards the center front and also for the armholes. And then at some point around the armhole area, you join the front and the two fronts and the back together, and then you work the whole thing flat all the way until you're happy with the length. One bad thing, oh yeah, I forgot about this. So when I was joining all those pieces together, I accidentally had this twisted like this. I had the strap twisted, so I basically had a Mobius strip for the straps. And I had knit like maybe this much into the body, and I was already not too sure that this was going to be a good project. So I just did a little surgery under the arm, and I cut it right here. Is that here? Oh yeah, actually it looks kind of okay. So I did a big cut right here, and then I knit a little square patch and then grafted that patch to the cut area. Okay, there, now you can really see it. So this whole area was cut and the patch was grafted. Let me show you the reverse side, which is not too pretty. So yeah, I was much more willing to live with a hot mess under my armpit rather than waste an hour of knitting by going back and fixing it. And it's under the arm, so whenever I make a mistake, I always try to make it under the armpit. And then the first new technique was an Icelandic bind off. So I just looked up how to do that. It was pretty simple, but this is a terrible bind off if you're doing stockinette because it's still rolling up really badly. And I block this twice, wet block and steam block, and it's still rolling up. So I'm probably gonna fold this under and like sew it down. I might not even do that. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be wearing this. Maybe I could wear this to the beach. If I wear this to the beach and I like it, then I'll go back and do that fix, I think. Okay, so that's one problem, or maybe two problems because I had the Mobius strip situation. Okay, and oh, another nice technique was along the neckline edge. It's like an I-cord edge, and I've never done that before. That was pretty easy as well. That one looks pretty neat. Oh, look at this. See, some of these increases, I did a really kind of sloppy job there, and this fabric does you no favors. So if you're not the tidiest knitter, you're gonna be able to see everything. And this is an 8-ply yarn. I don't think I mentioned that yet. So I did have some trouble with it splitting because there's so many strands together and they're not sticking to themselves like with wool. So yeah, that's just another problem. And then there's a third type of edging here at the armhole. This is like a little crocheted slip stitch edging at the armhole. This one I think looks the sloppiest of all, or at least it did when I was making it. Maybe this side. I just remember thinking, like, I redid it a little bit and I couldn't make it look any better. So I think that's just how this project is. Oh, and then there's a fourth. This is really cool. So the center front, the fourth technique I learned was this little edge. So you knit, it's like a double knitting, but done perpendicular to the work. So you pick up stitches along the center front and you knit a bunch of rows, then you fold it back in on itself and crochet it down in like a crochet kind of bind off. So it looks pretty cool, pretty neat, but it doesn't lay very well. And maybe I could have easily gone back. I think I probably should have picked up a little bit fewer stitches, but like I said, I wasn't willing to put in any more work into this because there were kind of problems all over the place. But that was a cool technique. I'm happy I learned that. And then I decided to put 2 little ties here like she has in her example pattern. And this is just a crochet chain rope thing. So that was really easy and fast. It was not doing an I-cord or anything like that. There's no way I would have done that. And then I was done, and yeah, this was a disappointment for sure, but let's see, I'll try to wear it to the beach, maybe with, you know, the little eyelet shorts that I made with that free shorts pattern by Rosary Apparel. I made that a few episodes ago. I think that might look kind of cute, and I'll give this a chance for sure. The fabric is really soft, like the Drops Bell is really soft. It's just that I did a sloppy job, and definitely watch out, like maybe you want to size down a needle when working with this just to have everything nice and tight and look a lot neater, because this yarn has a tendency to split and look sloppy, at least for me. So despite all the problems that I had personally, the pattern was really well written. It was extremely thorough and detailed, and all the different techniques I was telling you about had video instructions. And oh wait, I forgot one major thing, is that the gauge was like insane, and everybody on Ravelry couldn't meet gauge either. Yes, I forgot about that already. So she said to use a 3.75 millimeter needle, and some people were even doing a 3 millimeter needle, and I couldn't meet row gauge. The stitch gauge I met with 3.5 millimeter needle, so I just went with that, and then nobody on Ravelry I think met her row gauge. So she just has length instructions like knit so many centimeters, like that, so the row gauge doesn't really matter, but I found that a little frustrating that I just had no idea which size needle to pick to even begin the project. So yeah. I'm just gonna quickly show this other tank top that I made, because I already shared this in a previous episode, but I just wanted to show you because this is like one of the coolest yarns I think for summer. I just self-drafted this pattern. It's just a tube with purling in the round up top and the knitting in the round here. And this yarn, which is my favorite right now, is called the Gepard Cotton Waves. And it's a cotton and linen blend, and it just has this really, really cool beachy texture. And this is just the perfect beach texture in my opinion. It's kind of like pebbles in the sand or something like that. And it's really, really soft and drapey. And I'm happy with how this turned out. This is in the color Raw White. That's kind of sold out in a lot of places online that I saw, but there are some other colors. And I think it was like $10 per skein, and I think I used 3 balls for this. So I wanted to give a quick shout out in case you missed my other episode. I will link it down below in case you want to learn more about how I made this. And I did the little straps in crochet, and there's a crochet border here. But this was another quick little make on 5 millimeter needles. Now, before I get into my favorite project of the moment, I just wanted to quickly talk about the other finished object that I have, which is my Pista Kulfi sweater. I had finished one sleeve in the last episode, and now I finished both sleeves and the whole sweater itself. And this is called Pista Kulfi, which means pistachio ice cream, and that's because the drop, oh, it's not mohair, but this sheds a lot. It's the Drops Air, and it's in the color 42 Pistachio Ice Cream, and this is just such a fun, happy minty green color, and I love green, all shades of green. And this is just a really fun project I wanted to do. This is a self-drafted pattern, and I put the pattern up for free on Ravelry in one size, just the exact size that I made, in case you're interested. And the whole thing is a full chart. So the entire body is a chart. This entire sleeve is one giant chart. And yeah, so the pattern is a PDF, and part of the chart is there, and then there's also a link to the chart on Stitch Fiddle, so you can like kind of print it out or copy the chart and make it your own kind of pattern. It's a knit at your risk pattern, that's why it's free and only in one size. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. It fits really well, and it's nice for those colder summer nights. Okay, are you ready for my ultimate favorite project of the moment? This is called the Colette top by Sari Nordlund. And I think somehow this is the first Sari Nordlund pattern that I've done. I don't know how that's possible because I have like 20 of her projects favorited on Ravelry right now, but yeah, the pattern is really well written and I just love how it's turning out. So in her version, I don't think I've seen anyone do a multicolored version here, but as you can see, I decided to do a couple of very sporadic stripes here, right where the pattern has a little bit of open lace work situation going on. Then there's a very wide cable, and wow, I just love how this looks. It's kind of a trust the process kind of pattern because there's like a cable in the strap and it's all floppy, and it's not going to look right until you've got the neck edging and the armband edging put in. But I did one armband so far and I tried it on and I think it's gonna fit okay. So the yarn I'm using for this is called Concept by Katia Cotton Yak Yarn. So I really like yak now ever since I made the cardigan number 10 or 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And this is a 60% cotton, 30% merino, and 10% yak yarn. And I'm using the colors light ivory and black. And just watch out because the light ivory is definitely not white. It's more of a very light beige. Like here's it against something that's actually white. Maybe you can't tell, but it's kind of like a cooler, oh there you go, it's like kind of a cooler gray. It's like a light beige, it's definitely not ivory, but it's okay. I still like it, and it's still light enough for me that it, you know, kind of reads white. And I got 3 balls of the white and 1 ball of the black, and I think I'm not gonna run out, so that's good. I haven't run out of yarn in at least a few months. Pretty proud of myself there. This one comes in 8 sizes, and the finished bust circumference is between a 30¼ inch and a 60½ inch, and it's intended to have a positive ease of 0 to 1 inch for sizes 1 through 4, and then for sizes 5 through 9 it intends to have 2 inches of positive ease. I think mine might be turning out as negative ease though. That's weird. I'm using a 3.5mm needle on this, which is a US size 4, and that is a nice needle size. I like the smaller needles for sure, but 3.5 seems to go a lot faster than a 3mm needle. And this is such an enjoyable knit. The cables are spaced very far apart, so you don't actually have to do cabling very often, but the overall effect looks so nice. And then you also have this very simple open lace work here every once in a while, so it's just really engaging. You do it really fast, and you don't have to really look at the chart. This is fully charted. And yeah, I just can't say enough about this pattern. It's really well written. The only confusing part was about the increases at the arm area. Yeah, I think I just got confused and like wasn't reading the instructions properly, because it said one thing and then it started talking about something else, and I didn't know if it wanted me to do both of those things, or the first thing it said was a summary of the stuff that came after it. So yeah, I think it's fitting, so whatever happened was fine. Again, I didn't gauge swatch. I don't know why, but I'm not into gauge swatching right now. But I decided to make the size 2. I have a 93cm bust, which is like 36 inches, I think. And I was going for a little bit of negative ease, and I like to err on the side of too small when it comes to my summer knits, because as you saw, some of those other ones are a little bit floppy and a little bit too large, and I think that, at least on me, they look better when they're more form-fitting. So I made the size 2, but normally I make size 3 in things like sweaters. But this yarn is stretching a lot, and it's cable, so it's going to stretch a lot. Onto the construction. You knit the back panel first, straight across and flat, and then you make increases here for the arms, and then you put the back stitches on hold, and then you pick up stitches for the front and do increases. This whole section starting from the strap is fully charted, the whole front. Both fronts actually, left and the right. And then you join those here. Maybe you cast on, I think you cast on a certain amount of stitches right here, and then you're able to work the front flat up until the armhole area, and then you cast on some armpit stitches and then join the whole thing in the round. And now I'm about here, and I think I'm probably going to do another repeat. And from what I saw, the projects on Ravelry, it looks good when you end with the black and then do the ribbing in white, and that seems to have a nice pleasing repeat look to it. Oh, I also forgot to mention this has a t-shirt version and a sweater version. So if you're not into summer tank tops but you like this pattern, you could try making the sweater version of this. Anyways, so the armbands and the neckline are all double knitted, which means you're kind of making a hollow tube. So I learned how to do this in one of my previous projects from last month's episode, and it's just such a cool technique. It takes forever, but it looks so professional and polished. And then since I'm using 2 colors, I thought this band here at the armhole was a little bit too sad, so I decided to just put a little crocheted trim here, just really simple single crochet and then a chain. And I think that kind of ties the whole thing together, and I'm just really pleased with how that's looking. I think I'm a little too proud of that because it was pretty simple, but I think it really adds a lot. So I'm going to do that to the neckline as well. And I decided to do 1 armhole because some people said, actually I kind of agree with this, this is a really wide trim here right at the armband. So, you know, the thicker it gets, the less circumference you're going to have for your armhole. So if I were to do this again, I think this was 11 stitches wide, I would maybe do like 7 stitches and then have this whole armband be less wide. That way I would have more room in the whole armpit area. Right now it actually fits fine and I haven't blocked it or anything. When I block it, I'm definitely going to stretch it like this as much as possible. And if I'm still not happy with it, like by the time I put on the other armband and the neckline, who knows, things might really start to tighten up. But not to worry, I already know what I'm gonna do. So here is where it started and finished in a Kitchener stitch here at, this is like the base of the armpit. So if I need more room, I'm just gonna undo this little seam here, and then I'm gonna basically remove this whole inch here, because what I really need is for it to end like this. I was thinking, I don't know if it's going to make sense at all, but I'm going to kind of taper off the armband into no armband at all right here at the base of the armpit. So I will have to take off the trim and everything. So it'll kind of look like this. I have no idea if that makes sense or not, but I did my best. That's all I have to say about this. This is my favorite summer project for sure. As long as it turns out well, I could end up hating it later on, you never know. So now I'm going to quickly talk about a couple more projects that I have planned. I already have yarn for them, so they're really seriously in the works already. And hopefully I have time to get to them. I think I will, because all of these tank tops are taking just like a week or so at a time, especially if it's just straight up stockinette stitch. I think I could finish something in like 3 days, like over a weekend or something like that. Well, let me just get out my summer yarns. This is just one of those IKEA baskets. And I love keeping my projects in here because they could fit a whole sweater's quantity if you need. Okay, so the next project that I have planned is gonna be in Knitting for Olive pure silk. And I've never knit with silk before, so I thought this is a great time to try. I know a lot of people on Ravelry like this yarn. And this is in the color Lemon Curd. It just looks like a lemon bar basically. It's like a nice pale yellow, and pale yellow looks amazing on me. I don't know what the lighting's doing, but yeah. I have 3 of these, so the project I'm planning to make with this is called the Mixed Rib Cami, and that's by Florence Miller. And this project has 454 projects on Ravelry, and it seems to look good on everyone, so I think this is going to be a nice foolproof project here. This is a fingering weight yarn. Seems really, really soft. Probably drapey. I'm guessing silk is drapey. Oh, and silk, I read, absorbs 30% of its weight before it starts to feel wet, so that's a lot like wool. So I wonder if they tested that with water or sweat, because for science, I would like to know. So if you've seen my other episodes, you know I love ribbing, especially twisted ribbing. So I think this project is perfect for me because it's like a wide twisted rib pattern, and I think I will just have so much fun knitting on that. And I saw a couple projects did the pattern in the knitting for all of pure silk, so I already know it's gonna look good. This is made on a 3mm needle, and there are 9 sizes. And the centimeter range is between 75 centimeters and 155 centimeters. And it's designed to have between 10 and 15 centimeters of negative ease. So I think I'll probably make the 3rd size, which is for a 95 centimeter bust because I have 93. So yeah, I think I'll make the 3rd size in that. And it's knitted from the top down. First it's knitted flat, and then later on in the round it says. And then it also says that the edges are finished with I-cord details. I'm not so sure I'll do that. I don't know about I-cord. It tends to be very tight and not stretchy, so we'll see if I will do that or not. I just have to, yeah, we'll see. Ooh, something else about this pattern that really caught my interest is that it has optional waist shaping. And I really liked that feature in the Ilana camisole, and I like a nice fitted tank. So I will definitely do the optional waist shaping, unless when I try it on it's already too tight, then I'll probably forego the waist shaping, but as of now I'm planning to do that. Okay, the other project that I'm definitely planning to make, because I already have yarn for it, is called the City Tank by Tori Yu, and I have another skein of the Ilana Sabri 1, which is that fingering weight cotton and alpaca blend yarn. And I got this one in black because I thought black is the only other neutral that I don't have in this yarn, and I really like how soft it is, and it's perfect for summer. And this pattern has 104 projects on Ravelry, which seems good, and all the projects look good on the people. And ooh, there's also a dress version of this, so it's kind of a 2-for-1 pattern. And there are 9 sizes, and the finished bust circumference is between a 28 and 60 inches. And it's supposed to have between -4 and 0 negative or neutral ease. This one is knitted from the top down and has twisted rib detailing at the sides, and I love twisted rib, and I just really like the fit of this one. It also says the twisted rib detail is seamlessly worked into the straps, so that looks really, really good. I think I would like to challenge myself to try to make this on the knitting machine, because a lot of it is just plain stockinette, and the knitting machine loves this kind of very smooth fingering weight yarn. I'm not sure how I'm going to do the twisted rib on that. That's probably going to be a pretty labor-intensive process because I don't have a ribber, which means I'll have to latch down each column and do purling by hand all the way back up. And then to do the twisted rib, I'll have to take, on every row, I have to take off that knit stitch and flip it around and put it back on. So definitely requires a swatch there to see if it could be possible, but I think that'd be a nice, like a fun, exciting challenge for the knitting machine, because yeah, I haven't used the knitting machine in a little while and I'm itching to get back into it. I do have some of the leftover Ilana Sabri yarn from the white and the brown project, so I could use that as my swatch without having to tap into the black. So that could work out well. And her sample is knit up in Moondrake Pica Pica, which is 60% superwash merino, 20% silk, and 20% ramie. I've never tried that yarn, but it looks really good on the models here. So that's it for all of my summer finished objects and knitting plans at the moment. You never know what's gonna come up. I kind of change my mind and cast on projects all willy-nilly, so you never know what you're gonna see here. So now I'm gonna get into the giveaway winners and a little bit of acquisitions. So without further ado, I would like to announce the winner of the Rust yarn, which everyone was really wanted that one. But the grand winner is at Anu Grund 1218. So congratulations to you. Could you please email me? My email is down in the description box, and just put yarn winner as the subject title and we'll take it from there. And the winner of the local yarn is Jody at IRAMDE2554. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your username, but it's up on the screen. So make sure you email me. My email is down in the description box, and in the subject title you can just put yarn winner. And congratulations again, and thank you everybody who commented on my last video and congratulating me on my 1 year of YouTube videos and my 5,000 subscribers. That was a really big milestone for me, and yeah, just thank you so much for all your kind comments. They were so amazing. If you didn't win this giveaway, no worries. I think I'll do it again when around the holidays and New Year's time, because I just thought it was really fun. And I would love to do that again in a few months. So me and my mom did make it to the Brimfield Antique Fair. I know a lot of people were concerned that I wasn't going to be able to go, and they were saying, oh, I hope you get to make it. So thank you so much. We did make it. My mom did not get selected for jury duty. Woohoo! So yeah, we got to go. I think we went on the first day, and it was not too crowded. The weather was perfect. And I didn't really get much. I think I spent $3 total. So recently what I'm mainly looking for at these places are like antique crafting tools, just as decoration or to use. And I was also looking for a bathroom cabinet, which I didn't find yet. But all of the fun is in the hunt, so no worries there. Oh, there was one place that had 2 yarn winders from like 1860 something, and they were so beautiful, and they were like $400 each, so I didn't get them obviously, but just looking at them was amazing. But what I did get was this little trim, tatting trim. I think my great aunt knew how to do tatting, and this looks like it might be handmade, I'm not sure, but it was so dainty and beautiful, and it was only $1 that I just had to pick it up. I have some light yellow linen that I'm planning to make a summer dress out of, and I would like to use this as like a piping trim type of detail. And I think there are 2 yards here, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then the other thing I got for $1 are these little white buttons. Can never have too many white buttons, right? And 8 is a nice number. There were so many buttons where there's just one at a time, and you can't do anything with that, but that was a nice big pack, so I just picked up those. And then for my birthday, my mother-in-law got me some knitting books. Woo! So this is actually kind of funny, because I was born in 1987, and she got me these 2 vintage books that are from 1988, so right around the time I was born. So the first one is called Machine Knitting, and there's not that many machine knitting books out there that are like readily available compared to regular hand knitting. So I was really interested in going through this book, and a lot of what they have that's going to be helpful to me are these little schematics. Like all these little numbers are really useful to me, and I would say most of the patterns in here are a little crazy, and I'm probably not going to make it, but I do like to have a nice little knitting library collection. So like, look at this little carrot sweater, that's so cute. Very late 80s. It's a nice little stripy number there. My favorite one that the only one I could actually see myself maybe making is this little checkerboard color work one. I think that looks really pretty. Then the other book from 1988 is Alice Starmore Fair Isle Knitting. So my mother-in-law also knits, so she knows I love colorwork knitting. And yes, when I saw this, I was so excited. This is right up my alley. This has just a lot of different charts, little colorwork charts, and the way I would use this book is for making my own pattern, which I do love to do now, because I usually have an idea of something that I want and it almost never exists. And whenever that happens, I just try to make my own pattern, which is fun. And there's just so much inspiration in this book in terms of colorways, and yeah, just another beautiful book that I'm excited to dig into. And then she got me one new book called The Doodle Knit Directory. And this is also lots of nice color work ideas here. I have one friend and their last name is Fox, and they're gonna have a baby soon. So I'm thinking of making those little mittens for them. I think that would be too cute. And actually my daughters are really into this book. They spent maybe 30 minutes looking through these little motifs, and I would like them to pick out some and I can make them a fall sweater or something. There's a lot of animal motifs in here. There's some chickens, butterflies, ladybugs, and my younger daughter's favorite animal, well, it's always changing, but she used to really like penguins, so I thought this little penguin motif was super cute. So yes, great exciting books. It was a great birthday. This is like the best time of year. The weather's warming up, birthday, school's gonna be over soon. I do have 2 big trips planned for the summer. Next week, just me and my husband are... Oh, sorry about that. There's like a crosswalk outside our house, and some guy almost got hit on a bicycle and then was yelling at the truck driver. Anyways, so me and my husband are going to Nashville next weekend for my college friends reunion. Me and my group of friends from college try to do a reunion every year. And we met I think we're going, this is like our 19th year of being friends. And one of our friends lives in Nashville, so we're all gonna meet up with him. And I saw there's a couple yarn shops in Nashville, so if I have any spare time, I hope to visit one of those. And then in another few weeks, we're going on a family vacation to Barcelona, and we're going to take my mom with us. And I'm so excited. I've been wanting to go to Barcelona since before my daughter was born, so it was like 10 years ago. I'm just so excited, and excited to also, on top of sightseeing and everything, see if I can find some Spanish yarn to import back to the US. So yeah, that's what's on the docket for me this summer. And what are you all up to? I would love to know what your summer projects are. And I just hope you're all doing well and that you're knitting on a project that you love. So that's all I have to talk about today. Thank you so much if you're still here to the end. Make sure to hit the like and the subscribe button if you haven't already, and only if you can tear yourself away from your project. I understand if you can't. And I will see you again next time. Bye!